And welcome back to week 2 of the North American Summer Split action. In Game 1, Cloud9 look to be in complete control and are 1 game away from closing out the series. Just to let you guys know, Smoothie will be in for Bunny Fufu. So despite the win there for Bunny, they're sort of continuing the trend we've seen already.
Yeah, but the trend was if you lost a game, they sub you out. With Bunny, it's subbed out, and Smoothie just, more experience for him, I guess, and they're still going back and forth. And you talk about how similar they are in terms of their style, in terms of like if you took the nameplates away and you had to guess,
so far, yes,
it would kind of be a shot in the dark. Well, what does that give them as an advantage? You're kind of grooming 2 supports. Well, there's no difference. It's not the whole FLICKR Easy Hoon thing, right?
Maybe it will be.
Maybe.
I assume that's a logic,
Start pushing
right?
their champion pools away from each other, specialized.
You only play melees and you only play range supports.
It's a possibility. But anyway, I want to talk about their macro game as a whole because maybe he'll come in, it will change it a little bit. Probably not because Cloud9 looked practiced. They were up 3,000 gold at 15 minutes just by their macro game. It was very little kills at that point. Pretty much an immaculate game from Cloud9 after the lane swap. So it was just really well played from them. Controlled is the way I would describe it if I had one word.
Yep, and certainly that was how they played that game out. We'll see if P1 have anything to shift as we're going to get Smoothie set up. Just to let you know, there will be a slight delay as a result, so we'll have to see what happens. But Smoothie shouldn't take too long to get everything organized. Having subs, though, is a different thing here in the NALCS, but definitely a welcome change.
Yeah, they jump into custom game, make sure that their key bindings are all set up, that their profile's loaded and everything like that. But yes, it is going to be Smoothie in the lobby finally. So
yep, and again, P1, of course, not changing anything up, do have the same sort of cobbled together roster, but there were definitely some moments that we've seen this team play quite well together. What should P1 change, though? Because they clearly just sort of sat there and then they lost.
So if I'm P1, I sit there and even as coach and stuff like that, instill in these players, at least right now, that if you're going to go down, you go down in a blaze of glory. You try something because nobody's going to knock you for trying when odds are stacked against you, you're already losing, and people are expecting you to kind of roll over. Well, just don't. Try something. When you start feeling that you're getting behind, it's like, well, either you do nothing and you lose, or you do something and your chance of winning goes up.
Yep, and it's sort of nice that we've seen from the best of series, particularly how this game started. We mentioned at the top of game 1 that there was a very standard draft from both sides, and Cloud9 clearly got the better of their draft, just sort of playing the map out. The onus is absolutely on P1 to change something here as far as their draft goes. So I'm curious to see what choices they make. If they get more aggressive, maybe in the bottom lane, maybe with their support, maybe just even in the top lane. But I'm expecting some things to stay the same here for P1 because I think players play in a certain way. But I agree. Just go out in a blaze of glory if you're going to go down at all. You can even just upset Cloud9 by doing something they didn't expect, which is play aggressive. Because they've already seen the last game. Cloud9 were like, if you want to play a slow macro game, we're ready.
Yeah, man, get that Draven locked in, rush him mid, get Jensen out of the lane.
I agree. Let's get the Draven going here for Slushy. We'll see what changes teams do make as we are going to kick off game number 2 here into Champion Select. Vladimir ban, Rise ban, so similar mages taken away as last time. C9 on the blue side, though, could change a few things here and there. And respecting the power of the Trundle, actually banning it away from Zig, despite Impact getting it in game number 1 and having a perfectly fine game.
Quite strange that Aurelia is something that's been prioritized so heavily by the teams that we've been seeing in the NALCS, ending up on the ban list in most of these games now, but in this game it's just fallen through the cracks. Nobody's even taking it.
I actually think, at least from games that I've seen on this stream and from yesterday, C9 P1 are the only teams to break the streak of Aurelia. She was picked or banned in every single game leading up to the end of Liquid versus CLG. So C9 definitely either playing to the beat of their own drum or maybe just not quite completely up to date just yet on the meta picks. But Braum ban from C9, Swain ban by P1 with 1 more left to go. We'll see if either team has surprises in store for us here.
Final ban. Kindred was what was banned last game, as well as Ashe. The loss of ban pretty much turned into the Braum for the moment.
P1 Trundle. Take it the time though. What's it gonna be? It is gonna be Ashe.
All right, so P1 picked up the Rise ban, and Cloud9 ended up dropping their Rise and Kindred bans for Trundle and Braum, and they pick up the Kindred first. So you had to see this coming if that's the ban that they dropped.
Yep, despite some of the changes, Kindred's still a very strong jungle champion. So we'll see how Meteos navigates that one, as it is the first pick overall for Cloud9. P1 though, do they have some shenanigans maybe waiting? These first few picks are probably going to be, I'm going to say, pretty safe. We'll have to see though. I think definitely a change in support would be a first obvious place to start. Although Braum, I guess, is a relatively aggressive.
There we go.
Aurelia Sivir.
Yep.
We're doing it.
Both facing the same direction. Same pose. No, not quite. But yes, Aurelia, very powerful top laner right now. Has a versatile build up to the Trinity Force with the introduction of Stinger being in there. Because what you can do is if you get first blood, you go Stinger Sheen for 2150 in terms of gold, and you have 20% CDR.
And then you kill Dashan.
Exactly. You can stick on them. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. You can do that build, but a lot of people go for the Phage because if you back and you don't have first blood, you get Ruby Crystal and your longsword. But I expect this to be more aggressive. I want to see more aggression from P1. You have the Sivir for Slushie. I hope he hits that ultimate, and then they get to rush forward and actually have a team fight early on in the game when they aren't completely gone.
Yeah, it feels like Zig as well. Just a bit more comfy on more of the fighter-style champions as well. We've seen his Trundle, Maokai in Game 1 not looking too crash hot, and C9 actually going to say, okay, we'll take the Maokai. We think it's still pretty good, and they're going to give Smoothie the Karma. So no Bard this time. Definitely much more of an enabler for the rest of his team.
Yeah, Karma Sivir's just a combo because Karma will end up covering a lot of Sivir's lane weaknesses with Poke, giving her extra movement speed so that her 500 range doesn't really matter and trading potential. So taking that away, highly important, but also you get your Maokai in. Also important for your own composition.
Sort of the other thing is the range support meta, especially in NA, sort of develops. I think yesterday we saw this a few times, but Zyra seems notably absent in this series. Zyra is so good against Sivir comps.
Yeah, P1 ended up picking up the Aurelia, fell through the cracks last time. If they pick up the Zyra, which I hope they do, they're going to change it up.
You don't have to deny it from C9. I guess they could flex the Karma to mid, so if C9 really wanted it, they could get it, but I love these picks. Nice and aggressive, plenty of pick potential. Elise is much more aggressive there for Sentinel. Going to be playing into that Kindred. We saw success for that already for X-Smithy in our last series. Much different already. Despite these being sort of expected picks for P1, I think the spirit of the picks reflects a much more aggressive game plan, which is good moving into Game 2.
Yes, I think that they want to play a little bit more for lane here, and the fact that Sentinel is on Elise now allows him to be very aggressive. He was on the Nidalee, which he wasn't having the same type of CC, gank assistance, and those types of early game pressure that you would expect, but the Elise gives him way more options. You can gank Jensen and try to get his flash out, whereas before we just saw Gate kind of showing up and trying. That was what we saw from P1, was that early aggression from Gate, and we almost never saw it again.
Yep. Maybe with a different support champion here in Zyra, can be a bit more effective in those ganks. Looks like C9, though, are really just keeping it simple. Caitlyn and Azir looked around this out. A very strong team comp picked up for them. And Jensen going to go back for a repeat play on Azir, because played a pretty good game, so why not?
Yep, I definitely think he picked that up for Jensen, despite it being slightly nerfed. It's kind of funny because it's nerfed, but I still think it's a good champion. I think you just shaved off some gratuitous power.
Yes.
He didn't really need all that extra stuff. It's happened over time to Azir, and he's still been great.
This is the funny thing. Azir is like, now when you see Azir, it's like exactly what you get on the tin with the champion, right? Like, you read off the label, like, okay, this is what I'm getting. Because before it was like all sorts of weird stuff happened. He did things you didn't expect to do.
It's all those ingredients that you don't even know what that is.
But it turns out, when you take away extraneous power, it's still extraneous. It's not like he's bad after that.
Yeah.
As Varus is the last pick here for P1. Nice counter pick into the Azir. We'll see if Korean can maybe manage that lane a little bit better. Didn't have the worst time in lane with the Victor versus Azir, but Varus can definitely be a bit more proactive.
Yes.
And look at this comp. Pick everywhere.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Lot of pick. Double AD carry here. Physical damage, but that's the thing, is Zyra does so much damage as a magic damage dealer that Impact cannot just build straight armor. He does have to worry about Gate's damage output as the game progresses. And Slushie, don't know if he has Ignite or not. Probably not. I hope he changes it, but we'll see.
I think he will. But we did say he's an aggressive player. Maybe he's just going all in on the summoner spell. We'll check in as we get onto the Rift, though, as the two teams have selected their comps for the next game. C9 changing very little about what's happening, I think. A lot of the elements of their comp before, maybe even a bit better because they got Kindred now into their lineup. P1, though, definitely a change. And it's funny that we called the team comps from Game 1 vanilla. I think as far as 6-11 goes, P1 just have the 6-11 comp.
They do. They have the 6-11 comp. Hopefully it works out for them in this game because the last one was just a slow bleed. Want to see proactivity from them.
Well, we are about to get into game number 2, so update your Twitter vote with the hashtag C9win or the hashtag P1win. Will C9 get the sweep and start their week off well, or are P1 going to force a third game? We'll have to find out. Slushie did change his summoner spell.
Yes, he did.
Duh.
No double ignite bot lane. But
can you imagine getting killed at level 1 by double ignite bot lane? What a tragedy that would be.
It's what Tilt is made of, and then that's when, when you hit tab and go, what?
Well, didn't need to reach too deep into the pockets here, so line up for game number 2. Jensen having a dance. C9 move out of their fountain. They'll be on the blue side here for game number 2. Or up a game, so just need this one to clinch a series. Or if P1 falls to third, they could win that one as well. P1 backs against the wall. They try and battle in a very tough spot after a slow but clean game 1.
Yeah.
Cloud9.
Yeah, the draft was quite good back and forth. I definitely think that Cloud9 also got lane counter to Sivir, have the poke out, so P1 might look for the lane swap and do it late once again, just because the Sivir does struggle in lane, but the Zyra might compensate. We'll see.
These are the sorts of questions I love to think about, because Zyra is just one of those lane supports that feels so dominant. No one wants to lane into her.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky as well. I played a Karma Sport game the other day against Zyra, and the plants are really annoying. The fact that they auto-attack as soon as they spawn, they'll usually get 2 autos off and be able to proc Thunderlords if there's 2 of them. And if you kill one of them as a support, your Spell Thief's Edge goes on cooldown. So you can't kill it and then try and harass and get gold.
That's actually gross.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. And they'll block Karma's Q. So
I don't care about that.
It was
you
awful.
take him a gold. That's actually the worst thing I've ever heard. That has to be depressing for a support. As Jensen birding around in mid lane. Looks like we will get a lane swap. Yep. We have the P1 lane on the bottom side, C9 over on the top. See how Pyrian navigates his mid lane matchup though, because Jensen was kind of a standard game for him, but as often is true with Jensen, it was a good game.
Yep. Jensen, like you said, often has good games, especially up against mid laners that allow him to pressure, because this is supposed to be the matchup that can kind of hold against Vizier. This and Vel'Koz were the 2 that were really discovered after people dug deep and had to kind of figure out how to deal with him. So we'll see what ends up happening here, because Pyrian got completely shoved out of lane last time.
Smoothie though, collecting that bank. Zig answers right back with an Equilibrium Strike. Smoothie though going to go on a deep jungle adventure. Sentinel.
Now he's going mid.
Of course. Does have a ward on the red buff.
Oh!
Get a poke down. Gets a Spiderling.
Threw it down there and found it.
And just going to keep them off this Raptor camp. So nice play from Smoothie level 1. One of the nice things about Karma, she's real strong at that first level.
Having access to the ultimate mantra and allowing herself to have that soul flare. Oh, it's Christmas for Kindred right now. There's a mark on the top scuttle.
Hey.
Right next to where he routes.
Kept changing it, but look at that. Safe side scuttle crab.
Great thing too is if he kills this, kills the Raptors, you know and you guarantee that by the time that you complete the top lane swap, you're able to actually have the mark on the bottom scuttle, and if they didn't take that, there's 2 marks pretty much guaranteed.
Well, exceptional pathing here for Medias. Perhaps a little lucky on the spawn, but he knows this just as well as you do.
Yep.
He's going to go over to that Raptor camp and really just clean things out. Again, we do have the lane swap situation, so Cloud9 getting a bit of extra value. I always thought of Kindred as one of the best lane swap junglers. Medias kind of showing off why that is the case, at least in a few ways. Well, he's top lane right now, just hanging out, hoping somebody silly walks past and gets himself killed, but no such luck. In fact, it's going to take the gold here.
Gotta start chipping away at it. Make sure he doesn't have too many minions, though. And one more auto will do it, so he's going to wait for
calculation.
There you go.
Again, Zig not quite as calculated. Sentinel, though, hunting in the mid lane.
There's a cleanse on Jensen, so if he does land the Flash Cocoon, or he goes for a play.
Well, I like the posturing there from Sentinel, but doesn't quite find a way in. Instead, we'll take the Raptors down. Meteor's still farming away. He's going to take those Raptors we mentioned earlier.
He's killing the small ones because he's waiting for them. Waiting for the mark? Nope. Okay. Sometimes you bait the camp and just keep it there, or not leash it completely, and then eventually the mark will spawn on it because there's no other options. If you know, because the first 3 can only spawn on scuttles and enemy raptor camp. So the other 2 down, it's forced to come there.
Well, no luck there for Meteos, despite the early fortune on the Scuttle Crab on the left side. It's like posturing here for P1, teleport in. Big proactive play.
There you go.
Now Zig coming in, stuns up on a sneaky, ignites through. Sentinel moving in as well. Venomous Bite onto Smoothie, but C9 flash and disengage.
Sentinel, not ending up landing his cocoon there. It hit a minion that was point blank in front of him. Oh, man, that minion was a big hero because it was right after the flash had come through from Sneaky and Smoothie. most likely would have been a kill there, or at least additional summoners out of them.
Yeah, smart play from P1 to almost punish C9, who were down there with no vision. That's definitely the change we wanted to see moving into this game, but C9 avoid death this time, and we'll move back into standard lanes.
It's standard lanes, but it feels bad, man, because Aurelia at 0 CS, getting the lane completely shoved in on him.
That is rough.
Going for the early daggers as well for the Stinger build, so his pressure's going to be okay, but he's way behind. And Impact has the lane pushing towards him. Oh,
Cool.
This is awful.
It is, but we actually get to talk about something that we don't get to see as often anymore. We saw in game 1, we get what we call a standard lane swap, right? Take the early turret, swap down, take the turrets, everyone just sort of hangs out, and then you kind of figure it out what to do in the long lane. We actually have an uneven lane swap now, so we swap back to standard lanes, but one lane is much longer than the other lane.
This is the drunk Australian. This is where you come back and it's, what happened? And Meteos is up here because you can't be this far up as Zig. Zig is down in levels 100%.
Sentinel
The jungler's here.
Face checking, Cocoon misses, and Sentinel is going to get chased down here by the Kindred. Impact moving in as well. Flash forwards in, but the first blood will go to Kindred. And now Zig just has nowhere to run. Slow from the south lane, maybe he's going to connect here. Flash forward from Meteos, good flash from Zig, gets him out.
He has nowhere to run, and he has nothing to do. The minion wave is gigantic. This is going to be Meteos picking up a kill, but also picking up another mark on his side of the jungle, getting complete control of this top side. And now Impact, how many level advantages is he going to have over Zig this early on in the game?
Yeah, 4-3 right now. 24 5 CS and counting to 0. That is not a lot of CS. I'm bad at math, and even I can tell that one. As Meteos posturing in the mid lane period and somehow get awfully low. Meteos going to walk in for it. That's the flash.
Happened again. Pyrian low, and we didn't get to see exactly the progression to it, but the Victor was the same problem. He was just getting poked out by Jensen's ear. And that's how they opened up the game, is through that mid lane turret and getting it after the lane swap. So Zig, when's he going to get his first CS? First CS. There we go. 7 minutes and 12 seconds in the game. And it's just one, and he walks away.
He's 2 levels behind the Maokai.
No.
This is...
He's 3 in just a moment.
I changed my mind.
Oh.
Ross Queen's claim, getting consumed by a plant, is no longer the thing I hate the most. It's getting frozen out as earlier in this situation.
The big thing here, and we talked about it in game 1, is just the fact that C9 is way better at manipulating minion waves. They took advantage of it. P1 set Zig up for failure. They didn't put him in the opposite lane after the swap. The waves were not being pushed in the appropriate way. And then he's up here, and he has nothing to do. You cannot walk forward. Meteos read it, and they were like, why is this guy here? 100% we're going to kill him because he's past the halfway point. Well, and now he's finally going to pick up some CS.
1-42 right now, but it's going to get a little better here for Zig. He's 3 levels down on the Maokai right now. And thankfully, this wave is in a safe spot to try and farm. Zig, take every precious CS you can. You need them.
So the term Flame Horizon came about because the top laner Flame in Korea would get 100 CS up over you. And we've kind of changed the term over time to just mean 100 CS up. It was actually 100 CS up during the laning phase.
Yes.
So Impact may legitimately
Flame
Horizon Zig.
Well, it's been a while. We'll have to see. I guess the lane swap kind of makes it a little different because didn't have those back then.
Yeah, it was usually I killed him 2 times. Yeah. He can't even come towards me.
He got denied a bunch of waves, and I won. Well, let's check him in the bottom side of the map. Zig's trying to turn around some of that misfortune. Jensen on the blue buff. He's going to be able to take that one away. And checking in with Kaylin. Sneaky up a couple CS, but not feeling the pressure really. Just a pickaxe so far versus that BF sword. And a Cole there also for Slushy. It's going just fine for the AD carries, but it seems to be just a farm fest for now. Gate, though, doing a good job pressuring up with the Zyra. So this turret's going to take a little bit of damage.
Yeah, a little surprised because level 6 came out for Slushy. He has the ultimate, and there was no flash on Sneaky for a good while because they got both flashes bottom, but we did not see a repeat visit from Sentinel. Sentinel had to go top, and that was where he ended up giving up the kill.
Now, Meteos wasn't there last time, but he's here again now. Unfortunately for Zig, he may feel a little too safe.
Well, he's going to hop over this wall, and luckily it's warded for him, so he's going to see Impact walk up, and he's going to see Kindred.
Okay. Well, Meteos takes his croak down. There's another mark on that Scuttle Crab, so can waddle down and take that. But Wave again pushing back. These waves just keep bouncing. It's actually one of the... Ooh, Slushy. Big damage on the headshot. Poor Zig.
Yeah.
It's a rough time.
Looks like a trap max first for Sneaky. 3 points in it already with 1 in all his other abilities. And we see the variance there. As long as people feel like they can zone out the Sivir, they'll do it. They don't really need the wave clear of a Piltover Peacemaker, especially in lane swaps and freezes. There's no reason to shove it like that.
Oh, Meteor.
Oof. Snatched up.
Just dashes in and takes that camp. That's mine now. He's 10 CS actually up from the jungle as all begins again.
Oh boy.
This is an easy mark for Kindred, maybe. That's what
Okay.
Meteos is thinking.
Okay.
Flash forward, twisted advance. Meteos, Zig with a flash. Gonna blade search away. It's a good start. Now the rest of the team is here. P1 gonna try and answer. Sivir
here,
will be
though.
popped. And here's Jensen. Wants to make the play. Does get spotted by a ward. CNI will just disengage. They're happy with that.
Yep, but this is P1's bottom lane in the top side. Finally, they finally swap it back. But I think it's too little too late. Now you're putting Aurelia in the bottom lane. This bottom lane, now that they see Slushy and Gate up in the top, this bottom lane is most likely going to get collapsed on here. They're going to try to deny CS. If Meteos is able to get over to this side of the map, then it could be disaster for Zig. But he still has low mana and just bad timing for him. So,
In fact, this TP, like, they might not even need it.
oh, the traps. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's got 4 points in traps. Zig, usually you have to give up the caster minions as a ranged top laner anyway, but this is worse. This just went from this went from bad to
Zig,
worse.
every lane Zig goes to is just a bad time. Sneaky
He's
is
stepping on
nailing
traps.
his headshots.
He's just stepping on the traps.
Cena might just get the turret out of this. And again, you mentioned that swap back, but it being late for P1 here, Cena were always going to have initiative on this play. So unfortunately, the bad news is, despite the fact that Zig's still getting zoned out of creep, this tower might just go down, although Meteos looking a bit in trouble. Does get over the wall to safety.
And there's even more problems here because Slushy in the top side, I don't think he can effectively shove by himself against Impact. Seedlings, now he has 4 ranks in his Arcane Smash, which actually does a lot of base damage to clearing out these minions. Slushy is now kind of freezing the lane as an AD carry in the top side.
Well, Impact going to go back and shop because he has a whole host of gold to spend. Oh, no, he lied to me. Actually cancels that recall just at the last second. As we'll see Sneaky actually go back and get himself some Berserker Greaves. Pickaxe and a BF sword. If you guys needed to know what sort of game this was, I can now tell you. The macro game once again. Sneaky pretty much investing into pushing with those early items. Doesn't want to fight anybody, just the towers.
Just get as much damage as you possibly can.
Thank God we changed to ZW.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
To nuking turrets.
Yeah, would have been a bad time.
Oh, yeah. See, that was one of those things where it's like, he not only shoves me out, but as soon as he shoves me out, he takes it so quickly. And now that's Zig's job. So, I guess they were kind of stepping on each other's toes, and eventually Zig won. He's like, that's his identity. Nobody else can do that. It was the Jinx Tristana problem, where they were both really long range, really good late game, and they both decimated turrets. And you're like, okay, Tristana needs to do it a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, looks like Caitlin's doing the best job so far. Sneaky up a decent amount of CS, and again, just assaulting his turret. Cloud9, no need to play too crazy. Although I like this from Sushi and Gate, getting aggressive. We'll actually trade the turret. I'm surprised that Sneaky let that lane kind of freeze for so long.
Yeah, freezing, and then wasn't able to see anybody for a good while there. Gate eventually comes back up to the top side, and that's what they needed, is they needed to have the support there to continue. But will this be a hard shove here?
Kinda has to be. In fact, they're gonna catch this wave. Slushy, good luck. Oh, Gate's here, they're gonna stay. In fact, does not dodge a grasping roots, but his impact is pretty tanky.
So on this bottom side of the map, you should actually be prepared to dive Zig because he has no flash. If he loses the wave and loses the bounce, then he's even further out of the game.
So much
Push
damage.
him off.
Acing the hold down as well. Meteos is actually ready for the dive. They don't go for it, though, not quite in position. Furion actually pulled away from mid lane to protect it. So smart play there from the mid laner. Jensen did some damage to the mid lane, but not that much in that transition.
Yep, and C9 not going for the risky play, of course, because he really could stun him underneath turret, but I still think that it's something that you have to be willing to do to just crush him in this game. And that's what a lot of people were expecting from Cloud9, is to come in and be like, okay, this just seems like it's going to be, you know, standard workout, have an hour of play, and they'll be better for it. But it's just really standard. They're just kind of showing standard macro game for professional play at this point. And P1 are showing that they have a lot of problems, a lot of cracks.
Yeah, I mean, they're again a new team, still early on in the split, but a lot of learning definitely for a team like this. I think C9 is demonstrating that, hey, we can do this. What the nice thing actually is that I kind of like that C9 aren't being super flashy right now. They say we can play the standard game. They're playing it very well.
You're a play-by-play caster. How dare you?
It's good. It's actually good to see that, like, even noting with the tower dive, I agree. That was probably a good spot for them to try and make something happen. So C9 like, okay, we got the basics down, but there's also more that they can do from there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, not taking the risk, making sure that they have it all down pat.
No, I want them to take a risk, but the fact that you can identify that there's a way for them, like there's something else that they can do, is more what I mean. No, absolutely, I want them to dive the tower.
Gotcha. I was like, what are you saying? Are you saying? I like a game with no action.
Incorrect.
It's like that is not what I have heard from you in the past.
Well, certainly, still plenty of stuff going on in this game. That much I can tell you. Jensen, oh my god, Azir is such a gatekeeper. This keeps everyone away from the turret.
Yeah, Caitlyn's also up there in terms of who keeps what away from their turret. Just lay down the traps and you have to eat a lot of damage. And you can look at even Zig. Well, he's not going to get any defensive armor for a very long time. In fact, most people on this team are squishy from P1. Not going to have a dedicated tank or anybody to soak the traps.
And we're just chilling out right now. Jensen going to speed back with the help of Karma in towards that mid lane because he's got minions to farm. Karma's a cannon creep. Oh, Sneaky taking his stuff. Jensen says no. It looks like we are going to start a siege on the outer mid.
Yep, have a siege composition, whereas P1 have engage with Slushi and Zyre if they can land it. If they can hit the backline with this, there is still an opportunity in this game. It's only 2.5 thousand gold. You hit it and you go, and you don't look back. You got to hit them fast.
It's a good spot for P1. They've certainly laid the trap.
Oh, they're waiting too long. They're going to walk up again?
Yeah. Smart from
C9. Now. You got to go. Oh.
Not yet.
Now. It's like when you're at a red light.
Yeah.
Now. Nope.
Very aware play actually from C9. Be like, you know what? We're blind on our right side.
Yeah.
No need to do something crazy. And now, you want to be like, haha, we were here the whole time.
Pushed him off to the side. There were people in that bush. They didn't know. And now the TP comes down. And it'll be the flank here.
Oh, canceled.
But, yep. Canceled.
Zig got it, I think. P1 actually going to take this mid out. This is a little awkward. They're kind of on the wrong side of the map right now.
Yeah, Zig did get it. Zig did interrupt the teleport. And that's why Maokai is walking down. Zig trying to pick up as much CS as he can before he joins this fight. There's his TP.
Yep,
it's on the backside.
Meteos actually maybe trouble though. Impact's down as well. Gate going to move in. The ult is good, but the Lamb's Frostbite will keep them safe in the back line. P1 actually not a bad start to this fight as Impact far too low. P1 going to move in, and Slushi will get that first kill. Zig though awfully low, and Jensen's going crazy. Picks up a kill on the backside, but now he's outnumbered. 1v3, good flash from Sentinel. Gets him in towards the Azir, and they'll try and chase him down. Spiderling is enough.
Hate spiders, man. Once again, Cloud9, they pull the trigger on something, but P1 actually have the right counterplay. Zig, despite being kind of pushed out of the game in CS, he makes a great play to interrupt Impact's teleport, so Impact doesn't get the same angle on the fight. Has to come in it from the same angle as everybody else on Cloud9, and then he splits them. They walk too far forward. That pink ward that they were using to not be spotted at all ends up being the TP location for Zig. Get Meteos low, but then Impact is now the new target, and you can see Slushi flash forward, and then turns around, gets the flash out of Meteos, and then Jensen has access to the backline because he's just over the wall, playing Azir from the angles, and then the follow-up from Sentinel, 2 for 1 at the very end. But in favor of P1, basically off of the teleport play.
That was a true Australian spider.
Oh, God.
Absolutely destroyed him.
Dom was filling me in on Australian spiders and how big they are and how sometimes they fall from the rafters.
They kill Emperors.
Oh, my God.
That's how strong they are. That's
What?
it right there. Sentinel representing. He just
Okay,
killed
okay.
Jensen.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
I mean, they do actually, some of them catch birds, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Absolutely. Some of them. Most of them.
See, I'm glad you're here, so not everything's trying to kill you anymore.
Yeah, me too. It's trying to keep me out.
Health insurance is probably, a little more lax. I assume in Australia they have to protect you from all
Oh, yeah.
all the bad
absolutely.
stuff.
There is a premium on getting killed by a spider.
Extra life insurance.
Infernal Drake now spawned. See if the teams want to fight for it. CNN actually got an Ocean Drake in and amongst all the map play.
Hey, P1 are here first. This is how they should be, because if the C9 team gets in first,
Bad look.
if the C9 team get in first, Azir gets to set up soldiers where he wants them instead of having to use Q to extend them into the fight. And Sneaky gets to set up his traps. So P1 made the right play by being there, but Cloud9 answer, chunking out gate, he has to back, and then they push up the mid lane, and now that has to be cleared out, so now Cloud9 are in position. And Sneaky, we'll see those traps go down shortly.
Continuing to show superior side wave control as well. Huge wave on the top side. P1 want to fight. Dragon goes down. Vita's going to get it. Now Sentinel locked up by Impact. The ulti out from Empyrean's going to keep Maokai there for a little while longer, but Sentinel maybe blown up here. Jensen going to sweep in and will take the kill. And Gates now just trying to zone them away. C9 very successful.
Yep, Cloud9 get there, set up, and you saw 2 traps there ending up landing on Sentinel, who eats a lot of damage just from Sneaky. And right in the middle of the team, so the follow-up correct by Cloud9.
Might want to rotate to one of these side lanes though. Although Zig's going to go answer the bottom side, so maybe Baron is a call for C9?
Well, he's answering the bottom side, and he has no TP, so what you do is you try to deny the vision on Baron, the possibility, so that he can't just go down bottom, and he might have to miss that wave. Nobody's really getting any vision on it, because they see everybody from Cloud9 in mid lane.
Waves are nicely set up there, but C9 unfortunately can't take advantage. Pyrian and Slushy team up with Gate actually as well. And mid lane turret's going to be awfully hard to take down with all that wave clear. Zig looking stylish. Gonna try and maybe a couple creeps here and there.
Yeah. His Aurelia,
what it's like.
His Aurelia is not bad.
Oh,
it
no,
hasn't
not at
been
all.
bad. Like I said, his team put him in an awful spot at the start of the game, and it just kept going worse and worse because they're like, okay, let's swap it back. Oh god, this is awful. Okay, let's just try and get out of the laning phase. And eventually, they do get out of the laning phase a bit here, and they're way, like, before it was 4,000 gold at 20 minutes in terms of how far C9 was up. Now, it's a measly 1.5k.
Yep, and that was just pretty much from the map play as well.
In comparison, yeah.
P1 able to play a bit more aggressive, get those fights.
Yeah, up a turret as well.
C9 gonna have to start playing a little bit faster, I think. Because again, they're setting up the situations well, but if they can't just get a lead from pure macro alone, they have to take advantage of the opportunities they have afforded themselves. For now, though, they're just relaxing. They've got 2 dragons, so I guess they feel pretty safe with those. Next one will be Ocean, so potentially double Ocean for C9. Yeah, right now, P1 actually starting to get some vision back around this left-hand side.
And double Ocean will be good for them as well, because Pyrian, one of their win conditions is to poke down in the siege, and if you have the Ocean, then kind of negates that a bit.
Speaking of sieges, there's the poke onto Jensen. But wave clear still there. P1 not quite in position, and Zig's actually busy shoving out the long wave in bottom. Trying to get some pressure started there.
Finally, juicy farm for the Aurelia. Caught up in levels, almost caught up in CS. Right, it hasn't grown even worse, and he hasn't been bullied around by Impact. Luckily, it's a Maokai, so it's not something that zones you from the wave, etc. But the Aurelia will eventually turn online, and it looks like he's going for, I would believe, Frozen Heart afterwards. Try and slow down. It works on both the Caitlyn and the Azir.
Siege again stopped very quickly by P1. C9.
Yeah, this is where it becomes a problem, because if they deny vision from Baron effectively, that becomes P1 having to shove bottom and having to shove mid. And maybe they do Baron in the meantime. It's the risk you have to take. And they want to answer this bot wave. Zig up in levels finally.
I will say that P1 definitely adapted much better, even on a macro level.
Yeah.
Saw this last game, you mentioned it already, the goal difference at this point was significant.
Yeah.
At this point for C9. And C9, I feel like have just not used as many opportunities that they've given themselves here. I feel like this league could be a bit bigger. They'd maybe played the map like flawlessly in air quotes.
I mean, we have God vision, right? We can see everything, so we know where the wards are. And
Funny how good I get when I can see the whole map.
I know.
And I don't have to play.
Man.
Crazy.
Better caster than solo queue player, always.
Absolutely. Certainly hope so. Please don't check my solo queue record, guys. It's not ideal.
Oh, man. Is that like a OCE gold is NA bronze or something?
Oh, man.
What are you?
I would have loved to be OCE gold. Let me tell you. Zig's still pushing in the bottom, though. Kind of a threat. Let's have that Trinity Force completed, but Impact's real tanky, so probably not happening there. I think we're just waiting between objective times at this point. Baron, not too early, but maybe a little too risky to go without a monopoly on the area. And this mid turret being up for P1. You mentioned it in the last game when Cloud9 got it. Just such a good pivot point.
Yeah. And you can see, like, Meteos is sitting on 3 stacks. That Kindred mark has been on the Gromp for a very long time because he doesn't have agency over that area. He can't actually walk over there. I've said agency a lot, so I'm banning myself from saying that now.
It's all right. I'll pull you up next time. You know, still shoving, but I feel like P1 have already demonstrated they have the wave. The Gate's actually almost doing it by himself. Furion's going to show him the rest of the way. And this Sinnoh need to do something a little different because they've done this repetition about 5 times, and I don't think they're getting the result they want from this experiment.
Go back and forth, and eventually somebody's going to drop the ball. That's what you're hoping for. And when you're waiting for your enemy to make a mistake and you're trying to get them into a position where they do, I feel like that's kind of bad. Like, you need to be forcing things to make them have bad decisions.
Yeah. And again, they're setting things up. You can see topside, Slushie just went to clear out the wave. That was an opportunity for C9, but they had to get the recalls in, spend their money. Infinity Edge now for Sneaky, so maybe a bit more power coming through. They can try to get themselves a team fight started around the Ocean Drake that's spawning in 30 seconds. But a very close game here at 26 minutes in. P1 have made necessary adjustments. It'll be interesting to see where the game sort of opens up for from this point.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the build here because they made necessary adjustments to their macro, so it's only a 1.5k gold advantage for C9. And Slushie going for Last Whisper, Executioner's Calling, focusing on the healing from Kindred when it comes down, also the self-healing of Karma, but also Impact. I think that against Maokai is a very good item to pick up, but I'm not 100% on the Last Whisper this early. I feel like a lot of Sivir's power is in the Ricochet crits with an Infinity Edge, and a lot of people go Essence Reaver attack speed item, and then an Infinity Edge to round it out and have your 3-item spike.
Yep, so the IE is going to be quite late here. Even though Slushie will beat Sneaky to 3 items. Ghostblade pop.
Well, now he also doesn't have space in his inventory. Or even building it up. You're going to have to sit on BF Sword for a long time, but now he has to go complete his Mortal Reminder. That'll be the next thing that he does.
Well, still wearing the brown bags as well.
Yeah.
Might upgrade those boots.
I mean, Berserker's Greaves are good now.
It's going back. I'm going to find out.
More attack speed.
Fakes me out. Ocean Drake up. Zentinel actually in the area, so he might be able to take it. Ace in the hole onto Slushie. Spell shield. Oh, Jensen's in. The bait was there, but the ulti's out from Pyrion to zone them away. Sonya's forced out. Zig looking for a target. He's TP'd in. Impact's joined the fray as well.
Poke, poke, poke.
Good defense from P1.
Yeah, if P1 continue to poke down and they don't take any poke from Jensen in return, Smoothie, he can't stick around here. And they're going to have to walk up. You can see minion wave on top side. P1, if they're able to rotate up here in time.
Oh no, Sentinel doesn't do it. Won't face check. Red buff goes over to Cloud9. Actually, Meteos got it. A good collection there. They're trying to beat P1 to this rotation, but Slushie's already there.
I feel like you try to catch him out in that rotation because Gate still has his ultimate. Like, that's such a great tool in the jungle.
Oh,
Impact fight under turret.
Goes for a tower dive. Zig actually getting aggressed on. Sentinel on Gate. They're going to throw them away. Huge Zara ulti as Slushie takes out Sneaky. Lands Respite. Going to bring Impact and Meteos for now, but Impact's going to get chased down. Goes back in to try and save the team. Flash forward from Pyrion. Almost gets him one. Does actually collect the kill onto Meteos. And P1 looking for the snipe. Smoothie goes down for the double.
And they're right by Baron. P1 just got themselves a gold advantage, and it's Jensen versus the world at this point. Almost a clean ace, but they're going to pick up this gigantic objective and give themselves a lead. Want to see what P1 does if they secure it from Jensen. If Jensen can make a play, it's a possibility. It is the Azir.
He's moving in, but it's not going to be enough here. Zig, a little low. Yep, realizes. Does move back, and the Baron does go over to Phoenix1.
And Phoenix1 pick up that Baron off of a brilliant team fight there. Gate still had his ultimate. I was saying it's a great thing to use in the jungle. Well, I guess it's even better underneath turrets here. Impact goes really hard. They don't think the entire team is there yet. Zig flashes away, plays him for a fool. Gate, brute, knockup, kills Sneaky flat out, way too far forward. And Impact was the one who started off that flank. And then the follow-up dies from Deathfire touch. And then able to chase down Smoothie for that last bit. Oh, right through the heart.
A juicy last arrow there for Pyrion. It looks like Dragon is the next objective as well. Phoenix1 going to pick this up, and all of a sudden, things looking up ahead in gold. Not by too much, but 2,000 gold at almost 30 minutes in. They'll take it, given what happened in game number 1.
Hey, Phoenix1 just made it a series at this point.
Well, we're going to have to make this a game. Got the Baron buff, see what damage they can get done. Cloud9 maybe showing us the dangers of playing a little too deliberate.
Aggressive. Slushie being really aggressive here, but I mean, level 13 and a level 8, I would be aggressive as well if I were level 15 to 13 AD carry.
It's also Slushie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, if I was as good as Slushie, I'd probably be aggressive too.
Does have the VF sword also finished. Mortal Reminder now done.
Yep.
So he's opened up that space, but like you mentioned, will be slightly gated as far as item slots go because of the way he's chosen to build.
Ooh, speaking of gated,
Yep.
chunked out.
Jensen, still a threat.
Yeah, has to walk
Do
towards
not
that
sleep
top
on
side.
Azir.
And this is where it gets kind of difficult. You have the Baron buff. Now you have to walk between mid and top and make Sneaky set up all of his traps because these traps do have a recharge time on them. It takes about 45 seconds to get all of them back. So if they keep going back and forth and they're able to wear it out, then, well, he has no setup then. And you can start doing things like this where you walk up, buff up the minions, and then keep doing that back and forth.
Yep. Poke's still good as well.
There we go.
Good damage.
Yep.
Onto the turret. Impact claps his hands. Gonna clear this out as best he can, but Pyrian and Gate really causing issues under the turret. Sneaky, it's a big chunk.
Yeah, hitting those power spikes for Pyrian. Not only does he have the armor penetration, but he also has more mana completed. Looking for even more penetration.
Well, Meteos right now protecting the turret. Jensen, though, has got his hands full trying to clear all these waves out efficiently, and this tier 2 will break. P1. One turret now with the Baron buff. Let's see what else they can get done.
Yeah, one big mistake from Cloud9 with the engage in the top side. I was talking about how you play, they were playing the early game, you know, so that you get to that team fight phase with a large chunk of gold as an advantage to increase your probability of winning that fight, not having to rely on it being perfect. Well, it wasn't a big enough margin. They kind of muscled that down and tried to rely on their stats, and they got counterplayed. Gate outplayed that incredibly hard and ended up picking up the fight for P1. So now P1 in the driver's seat of this game for the first time in the series, actually.
Yeah, Baron buff wearing off, unfortunately, in about 15 seconds or so, but got a decent amount of gold out of it, and got one turret. So probably not everything they would have wanted, but this game has gone pretty late. Elder Dragon will actually be our next Dragon spawn. And given the current pace of this game, expecting these objectives to really matter, kind of moving into it. But P1, with the advantage, maybe not enough. We'll have to see. Because Meteos is a Guardian Angel.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Guardian Angel, most likely Sterix afterwards. No Runeance Hurricane for him, which is something we see a lot of Kindreds get once they end up getting around, 4 or 5 stacks early, but he's sitting at 3. So if you get like 3 stacks early and you're just like, okay, I'm at the point where I'll clear the jungle faster with this, and I'll be able to actually invade theirs and get out quickly, then yeah, go for it. But the Phantom Dancer seems to be what he wanted. And the Guardian Angel, not 100% sold on it. But I mean, if he's going to get poked down, then I guess it's the option, but...
Curious. CNN actually, with the Rylai's now on Azir, is probably the next place to look. Sneaky, also 3 items, so... Carries are starting to do the damage. CNN just need to find a fight they like.
Yeah. I'm still... To close out the Guardian Angel thing really quickly, Meteos' pretty much only job is to stay alive and use his ultimate so that Sneaky and Jensen don't die. So Guardian Angel, we'll give him some wiggle room for that, and that's what he's looking for.
I like it. Sort of the medic. Jensen in. Proactive play on the gate.
Just picking on the Zyra. This is like Season 3 all over
Yep.
again. Assassins trying to go after the Zyra, one of the squishiest characters in the entire game. But she does so much damage if left unchecked. Having the Haunting guys now into the Leandri's Torment, easily going to be one of the top damage dealers in this game. Except for, we do have Varus that pokes a lot.
It's good that you mentioned that, because with the trend back to range supports, that is actually like a real thing
Oh, yeah.
for supports now. We started to see, I think Rainover built an entire game plan on Olaf about how to kill a Zyra. And unfortunately, the rest of his team couldn't get through.
Yep.
And Ray pretty much made a name for himself yesterday on Jarvan, doing the exact same thing to Zyra. And then the rest of the
Yeah.
team.
No, Zyra is one of those champions that incredibly annoying to play against, and you kind of have to draft for it. The 3 that I really think of are like Zyra, Zillion, and Anivia are all very frustrating to play against because of the way that they operate. Sometimes you feel helpless in the game, and if you don't have enough tools or instant tools to get to the Zyra, then you're going to feel a little bit helpless if you can't blow them up immediately.
What is he actually? Oh no, it does have Infinity Edge. Moved his items around.
Completed it.
So he's really strong right now as well. We're kind of getting to a point where, only 3 hasn't gone up. We're going to have to make a big fight. Impact flashes out. Now Zig on his way back in. Impact a little too low, I think. P1, man, creating a nice zone.
Yeah, that was actually quite interesting by Zig. Zig threw out the ultimate for damage, where he maybe could have actually queued to Impact, and then before damaging Smoothie, maybe have gotten a stun there. There's a lot of different things you can do with Aurelia. She's a actually complex champion. Once we talk about like, oh, there's a lot of point and clicks and stuff like that. It's actually the way that you manage your enemy's health bars and the minions and paying attention to them is quite important.
Yep.
She needs to hit those breakpoints where she can one-shot minions and stuff like that. So Elder Drake coming up in 10 seconds. That's wrong. It says next Drake. Next Dragon.
Oh.
It's the Elder Dragon.
Back here again.
It grows up.
Well, it's pretty big.
No.
It's going to spawn here.
It's just one of those nitpicky things. I don't even actually care.
Sentinel clears the water. I thought for a second he was going to start it. Doesn't fancy it though. Is that hit turret still in the way?
Yep. Keeping his mid turret for a very long time. And he was one of the first turrets to go down in the previous game for Pyrian. But holding onto it, this Varus just seems like something that's a wrench in the plan for Cloud9.
Baron's up as well. So feels like C9, they know they're trying to make a play here. Jensen in, onto Gate, moves him back in, damage is there! Does get it on the air, but I think he's going to die. Great Sonya's keeps him alive for now, and Impact's in there. Jensen though, kept alive by the Lambda Spider, so damage out onto Sentinel. Enough healing there as Jensen gets out, but Zig flashes in, too aggressive, but he will get the kill. Sentinel getting low as Impact's trying to do damage on the other side. Meteor's just going to get one on the other side. No, he actually doesn't get Sentinel. Zig lives somehow as the S in the hole is going to take him out. And what a messy fight, 2 for 2.
Yeah, I'm very surprised the way that ended up playing out at the very end there, because it just looked like P1 had a good position, didn't instantly blow up Gate, but Jensen was able to actually get off the Zonias. The rest of the team came through and finished it off, and then smoothly hangs off on the back line and almost gets killed. Zig maybe could have killed him. Otto gets the kill by himself there. TP comes through and Zig tries to go after Jensen. At that point, Meteos is just running towards him, trying to keep him alive. Flashes over the wall, kills him, and then Smoothie takes a lot of damage, but Zig doesn't turn for that. Because he has Meteos chasing after him, gets the stun off, which allows the GA, but then the ultimate, and there's nobody who can really take it for him anyway.
And I believe Sentinel live, but P1 are onto Elder Dragon. Baron's up if they want to make a trade, but this dragon's dead.
I don't even know if this is spotted here. So Elder Dragon has a mechanic on it where you actually take more damage and you deal less damage to it based on how many stacks of Drakes you have. If you have a stack of Drake, it does 20% more and it takes 7% less. So the more you have, the harder it is to take, but it's more rewarding with true damage. So P1 get Elder Dragon, but it's only 90 true damage over 3 seconds.
Yep.
I mean, only say 90, but it's still a decent amount, but it's not as much as it could be, and that's why it's easier for these guys to take.
Yeah, so pretty quick Elder Dragon there, but Baron, of course, is the next objective to think about. Jensen trying very hard to take this turret out, but gang's all here. P1 gonna make sure that doesn't happen. Cloud9 almost feel like they're frustrated in this game.
Oh, yeah.
4,000 gold down now. Clearly know that they're behind and have to do something to get themselves into this game.
Yeah, because not only do you have to deal with Gate and get access to him, you also have to deal with Pyrian. And Pyrian will most likely have the Sivir ultimate on him, and he has more forms of peel here. So getting into this team when you're behind is hard to do, especially since your forms of engage are maybe a Maokai flank, flash root, great, but Jensen, you're seeing him dive deep to try and get the engage.
Kinda has to. It's really the only forward engage for the team. P1 going too crazy on the Baron attempts.
Yeah, normally I would say like a Karma Mantra E is a great way to engage, but not against a Zyra and a Sivir.
Well, Zyra stopping everyone's plans recently. Baron gonna get started. This should be easy pickups for P1. Gonna melt pretty quickly, but Cloud9 are in the area.
Using a lot of abilities on it.
They want a Baron. Meteos in. Can he get it? No. Ulti not enough, and that's going to go over to Sentinel. Meteos now knocked out by the Zyra ulti. There's one kill. That's going to be another. P1. 2-0 team fight plus the Baron.
And disaster for Cloud9 there. Meteos tries to make it over. Does not Lamb's Respite the Baron either, which is what he was going for there, was the quick play to out-smite Sentinel. But it doesn't come up big. P1 does instead, and they play it correctly. They get the Elder Dragon, they have the Baron buff, and they're ready to push down. Elder Dragon expired, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's starting to mount a gold lead now as well, and a significant one. 6,000 gold up already, almost 7. Zig's going to make it over that as he takes out the tier 2 in mid lane. Inhibitor's still up for Cloud9. In fact, the inhibitor turrets are also up as well. Like, P1 have to do more damage, but C9 are just trying, and every time they fight, P1 answer.
Yep, P1 were able to answer with their composition, and Cloud9 got too aggressive when they dove, and there were too many people around, and that's what opened the game up, was really Gate's counterplay. But look at this Zig. I want to touch back on him, because now he's up in CS over Impact. He's up in levels over Impact. This was like the worst top lane start I have ever seen to a game without somebody actually just flat out dying 2 times. And he is able to find his way back into the game and not be completely exploited.
Well, C9 just trying to keep these Baron up minions out of their base, and they actually will defend these inhibis for now. Surprised he got away with that recall, but he does get out. C9 going to try and reverse some of these waves.
That big wave bottom that they all want to pick up. Impact right there. Flash. Oh, man. No Q over the wall from Meteos. Expecting the flash, the Q, or even just Q flash. Not sure what the cooldown was on it at that point, but you'll usually use your W to get the lower cooldown on it so that you can actually close that distance. But if he made it over, he would have definitely had the Lamb's Respite on top of the Baron. And then it would have been up to the identification of Sentinel. Can he actually see that that's coming?
Well, for now, P1, they take the Baron, they take 2. They break the base in 2 different places in top and mid. And 41 minutes into this one, P1 looking complete control. C9, feels like they have the team comp to have a team fight, but maybe they played too much macro, man.
No,
because they're not team fighting.
Too much macro. No, they didn't play enough macro. They didn't play enough macro. Too much team fighting, you're right.
Overdosed on macro, man. Forgot how to team fight.
I also think they didn't play enough macro this game. If they were in that position and they hadn't started the snowball early enough, they tried to force it in the top lane with that, what, 1.5k gold lead? Still not enough. And then the Baron was right there. So P1, I'm not even gonna say like it was lucky. It was really just outplay there.
Well played.
It was outplay.
Again, way more decisive, right?
Yeah.
This game, not a complete 360, but a 180, because 360 would be silly. Again, not good with numbers.
They're back where they are, but they've seen some stuff now.
It's almost like a Cloud9 to play. They're sneaky, also very strong. Don't forget that the carries of Cloud9 can certainly carry a late game situation, but mid inhibitor's going to go down. Oh, and they're going to give it away. No, Jensen in. Zhonya's is after the ulti. But can he get back out of Flash? And now Meteor's not so lucky. GA's there, but the damage is huge from the Azir and Impact. It's found his flank in. Slushy down there is sneaky. Actually is able to take him out. And Zig now going to get himself chased. Sentinel face checks Jensen soldiers. And that's 2 kills for Cloud9 this time. Oh, Jensen, he wants it, but he wants it too much. He'll in there, Pyrian through. Lamb's Respite going to keep him alive. A double kill for the Azir. And Pyrian charging out the snipe. Gets Jensen for the double.
Pyrian missed a few arrows in that fight that would have been completely critical for P1 winning it. Barely pulls one out there at the end. Jensen goes ham into the back line and gets the engage that he's been looking for the entire game.
Well, that's what we need. For Cloud9 at least.
Yep.
But here we come, pushing out. Carries it there.
43 minutes in, and it finally goes down.
Jensen remembers how to team fight.
There we go, comes in from the side. Flash from Pyrian. Slushy then has to blow his ultimate to get out. Meteos trying to tag in, but Impact from the backside locks up Pyrian, does a lot of damage there to Slushy, and Slushy gets completely blown up, and the damage from Sneaky, very relevant in this, as they're just continuing to push forward. Right there, Pyrian almost hit Impact with that, would have been a kill. Almost hits Jensen with that, and Meteos, would have been a kill. And eventually, hits Jensen, and it's a kill.
So you can see the Varus dishing out pretty insane amounts of damage. Both mid laners. I mean, really, these two comps, there's just so much damage from these carries.
Yeah. Oh, and Gate's a carry now, too, by the way. With all of the magic penetration that he has, there's a lot of players on the enemy team that don't build magic resistance. There's no Abyssal Scepter for Jensen. There's no Hex Drinker or anything for Sneaky. And Meteos, he's just got the GA right now. So Void Staff plus Leandri's and Sork Shoes is going to do work for Gate.
Well, we're starting to get to a very interesting situation. 44 minutes in almost. Gold is still up for P1, but starting to matter less and less. These inventories are getting very full. You don't get to like late game to super late game very often, but this game's certainly pushing there.
Yeah.
And with the compositions these two teams have, those little mistakes are going to start to add up. So, have shown that, okay, we can still win a team fight. We've got the carries to do so, but P1 have shown the same thing, and arguably more consistently so in this second game. Then I know after triage those inhibitors, and Elder Dragon, when you back up, not just yet. It's a little while away. It takes like forever to spawn.
It's a 10-minute respawn.
Oh.
First time it spawns, it's standard dragon time of 6 minutes until it comes up.
Hello again.
Oh, it doesn't make it!
That's not where he wanted to be.
And he won't make it, Doctor. He's just completely gone.
Didn't even get the Zhonya's out.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much damage coming through. Gate does true damage now to him with his 57 magic penetration, Jensen's 30 MR. So He does a lot of damage, so does Pyrian. He just gets blown up. He dove in and got nothing for it. Just too aggressive.
And it's 4v4 on the top side because Zig's busy taking the bottom half of the map. He's just going to happily take this away. And Cloud9 don't really have an answer right now. Jensen's dead for so long after trying to make another big play. C9 kind of need to do something, but
Cloud9
don't
are
have
losing
very
their
many good
base.
options.
They're just going to lose their base here slowly. Zig split pushing, and you don't have the numbers. If you send one person to go bottom, you'll most likely get engaged on this top side.
Zig's got it. Bottom and hip goes down.
He can flank now, too. He has the angle to come in if he wants to.
He does. On to Meteos. And there's Sentinel in as well. Rushing into the front side. His impact's taking up a lot of damage. Sneaky trying to get the shots down. That's good onto Pyrian. Not quite enough. That does go down one more. There we go.
Ooh, Pyrian. Pyrian ate a crit from so far away. About 900 damage is what I saw pop up. Sneaky, he wants more.
He can't.
No.
It's too much. The minions are coming back in now. There was a little window there for Cloud9 to take a few more kills, but they are now going to be stuck in their base, dealing with waves and waves of super creeps. And Zig's not even done. He's hanging out.
Yep, and Baron live, as well as the Elder Drake, and Zig, he's trying to pull them back. Pings onto the Baron right now. Slushy is by himself, kind of setting it up and clearing out the vision. And Zig is just being a nuisance right now with his TP up, gonna back. See what his last item is. Probably, yep, Randuin's.
Well, in general, pretty much everyone's full as far as items go. Jensen murdering those poor creeps. The P1 are onto Baron. C9 cannot be in the area to contest this. There's just no way to get out of their base. And I feel like it's a rare time where you can just sink your waves up, walk in the middle of the base, and it'll probably do it for you.
Oh, but are they gonna be getting even more insurance and going for the Elder Drake?
I think they will.
The Dragon? Go for that?
I mean,
I think so.
This is such a strong position for P1. They just don't want anything else to go wrong.
I think you don't even start it and you wait for the waves to just push in. Like the top wave's gonna push in, mid, bot. Mid's not gonna push in as hard because the Azir turret's there, which shows that Cloud9 do want to contest this.
And Hib's back as well.
And Hib is back, yep.
So a little bit of a reprieve here for Cloud9. But P1 are waiting for Slushy.
Gotta wait for the waves. Elder Dragon takes a long time to do because of the damage reduction. Luckily for P1, it's not that much.
Cloud9 are like, oh, we kind of have to do this. Again, Cloud9's running out of good options. Jensen getting chunked there as well. As long as the poke's there for Pyrian, that's all they need. One Ocean Drake is not enough.
They have to go back. This bottom lane turret is about to get destroyed.
Ugh.
It's just about to have super minions crash onto it and the top side. And this is where the minions split. All these minions will focus this one. If it's the middle one, it usually gets split between both. Now these are all dedicated to the bottom, and those are all dedicated to the top, and that's going to be Elder Dragon.
Yep. P1's going to take it pretty much at their leisure at this point. And I think that's going to signal maybe the final push of the game, or at least in P1's eyes, that's what they want it to be.
I mean, they have everything that they could ever want to try and end the game. The problem is as they stall it and it ends up getting towards 6 items for everybody, then you have no gold advantage in effective combat stats. So they have to close it out in the next few minutes here.
It's just the Elder Dragon buff and the Baron buff, really. That's the gravy they get to add to this last push. C9, do they defend here? I think they kind of have to. Wave clear pretty good. Baron up minion's not doing...
There's a TP from Impact, but he cancels it.
Oof. Ooh. Could have been it. Cloud9 still with the way back into this game, but P1 going to try and seal the deal and force the game 3 here.
The call is probably to try and wait out the Dragon buff. It's only 2 minutes.
That's a rough 2 minutes.
It is. It's a very rough 2 minutes.
P1.
On the bright side, it's halfway done now.
As you said, very short duration. Kind of starting to take damage. Jensen with the poke in. Impact
there we
up.
go.
Diveralty popped. Zerasalt misses. Impact backfired Slushy. But Impact's forced to flash out of that area. Jensen is trying to keep them back, but Zig is threatening a carry.
Oh, they're just getting these turrets slowly but surely. The Zyra poke off of them. Jensen doesn't seem to have the same type of damage that he wanted. He needs to get to that back line, but it's so hard.
It really is. And they're just trying to bounce back towards their fountain. They need to wait out the buff. It's almost done. But P1 might just move in for the kill with barely a few seconds left. All gate flushes. This is surprisingly tense.
This is his flash down, though, and he's a very important squishy.
P1, I think they don't want this anymore. They're getting a little low. Sneaky. Damage coming in.
Dragon buff is off.
It's the longest Nexus turret taken
In a few seconds.
history of League. It's gonna go down. No, they go in for it. Slushie, that's forward. He gets killed, I think, by Impact as he gets locked away. Now it's open. Jensen moves one back and pops us on his P1. Gonna fight in for it, but the Launcher's fight saves Meteos as now Sig just can't do anything. Cloud9 managed to hold.
Are you kidding me? 4 members go down from P1 and Cloud9 with minute-long death timers on all of P1 Vaporeon. They get time to clear these waves. They get time to get to 6 items. Oh, man. P1.
Inhibitor's coming back up. They're back in bot. They're back in top. Mid's still open for a little while longer.
I don't think I've ever heard cheers for an inhibitor respawning before. It's brilliant.
Cloud9 have only their Nexus left. Just so we're clear, as we'll watch this again. So this turret goes down, and then all hell breaks loose.
Try to commit to Sneaky, and that's it right there. Slushie, flash forward, doesn't have the quick fingers for the spell shield to actually stop Impact, and gets blown up because he's rooted, and then Jensen makes the play. Zig tries to jump in onto Meteos. Meteos has his quick fingers and pulls the trigger on his Lamb's Respite. But even at the same time, he had GA available.
All right, 11 else from P1 coming back up. C9 have actually made it down mid lane.
Yep.
And they're going to take a turret. Hitting them so much damage. And Sneaky sold his boots. 51.5 minutes in. This game is truly all in from both sides. I'm not going to promise anything, but I think the next team fight ends the game. To be fair, I thought that one was going to end the game, and it didn't. I'm not sure. Absolutely not.
Yep. Everybody on 6 items right now, save for Smoothie. Pink wards count as a 6th item. You need that slot for contesting objectives, but as a support, holding on to it, I don't know.
Just in the rare place or in the super late game.
Yeah, it's funny because
you rarely ever get here.
They are true supports. Keep that slot open for the pink wards. What are we going to contest? The team fight? Well, the Baron's in a minute and a half, I guess. Yep. Smoothie just needs 1 more item, sitting on 1,500 gold to complete what I assume is going to be the Randuins, but it could very well be towards something like a Frozen Heart.
Zig is still a nuisance. GA up for the Aurelia now as well. Like, Impact also has TP, but can't really stop Aurelia.
It's
You
true.
just kind of deter her.
That's true. He can't stop her. Let's see what happens because he has 2 damage items, so he went for the Mob Malmortis after that, and there's 2 GAs, as well as 2 Mortal Reminders for P1, so they're just all in on this next fight.
I mean, C9 don't have to wait too much longer for that mid inhib, I don't think. We're about to get an effective reset 50+ minutes into a game.
This is the type of game that you would see like right here if sandbox mode were a thing. Like, give everybody 6 items. Let's go for the team fight. One team fight decides the game.
I want to see who wins.
Buy your items. Walk out. Gentleman's agreement.
Although in none of those. Still trying to play the map right now.
But
Oh, Jensen's in bottom lane.
comes down to those moments in the fight.
Dick!
The abilities.
That's out. That's a flash.
That's a flash, exactly. And if they're able to land the abilities and actually capitalize on it, that could be P1 taking it to game 3 against Cloud9. Completely unexpected, especially after that game 1, or it's Cloud9 closing out the series and having another close game because things still look rocky for them.
You know, we had a bit of fun yesterday
Oh,
in the NALCS.
did we?
Yeah.
Never.
Making, you know, kind of some remarks about everyone's favorite Drake. You know what Drake would be really good right now?
Which?
Cloud Drake.
It would.
Everyone's favorite.
It would be fantastic. No.
I mean, given how, like, much, like, let me tell you, the workout these people are getting on their legs this game is a lot. Because there is so much map movement.
And those 0.5 seconds.
Oh, no! Slushie just walks into Jensen, and look at the damage. There's a double in for the Azir.
He is ripping through P1. Zig on the backside can't do a single thing. Slushie got 2-shot. I saw Jarvan do that yesterday. I was not expecting that from the Azir.
And Zig's kind of on the right side, but time to race? Question mark?
Well,
Zig's pulling a wave.
he has to kill an inhibitor, and he also has to kill...
Jensen went back.
Jensen went back. 4-on-4. Jensen won't be there. If they recognize this, if they see Jensen, they don't know where he is. They're afraid to fight this.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, it's 4-on-3, sorry.
2-shot the ready carry. I'd be afraid as well. Still a mat up, of course, for C9.
Gate down as well. No Baron picked up. It's not the objective that they wanted there.
They're not trying to end this game, I think.
Oh, man. They have 20 seconds on gate. Kyrian used his arrow not for wave clear there. He's going to have to charge it up.
Yep, there it is.
Focus on the wave
Very
clear.
low cooldown, but they're going for it. They want to make the play. Impact gets caught by the Varus ulti as Meteor's also taking damage. He's taking up turrets here. Sentinel may be caught. Flashes out after the repel to keep himself safe. Jensen just has to do this manual style. Gets one Nexus turret. Solution gate up in 5 seconds. C9, you cannot be here.
Slushie comes up right now. Will it be the chase down? Because there's a lot of members of C9. Half HP, a little bit lower. Ocean Drake, not going to save you there. And this might be Baron for P1 if they try to force it. Because these minion waves are almost on the side of Cloud9 towards those inhibitors.
I think Baron's a trap. I actually don't know if I want to take it.
Admiral Akbar, please.
It's so risky. If you lose a team fight, the game ends.
Yeah.
And like,
I still think you do it because the health bars of
Sure.
P9 were so low when they walked away that P1 get this.
all right, they're going to get it.
Meteos, is he going to make a hero play?
No.
Here comes all of C9.
I missed the team fight I thought we might see. Impact's TPing in.
On the bottom right side.
We're all in. They pull off the Baron. It's done some damage. Impact on the front side. Oh,
It's aggro.
no. Impact. You don't need the Baron.
Oh, man.
He's actually keeping it up.
They're waiting for
They're
the
gonna
poke.
try and take
Jensen.
it.
Jensen is so low.
Ulti up from
Slushie.
Slushie. Moving in for it. Baron's going to go down. Meteos, is he going to get it? No, he does get it. Doesn't miss the smite, but the damage might be done here. I said it was a trap, and this is why. Smoothie going to go down.
Jensen's in.
Takes out Slushie. Pushes him back.
Oh, no.
Pops the Zonius. But he can't do enough damage in the backline. Jensen rips through P1, and Impact might go down. Zig and Meteor's having a 1v1, but Sentinel outnumbers Impact. P1, they get the ace. I think the game's finally over.
And P1, oh, that was just by hairs that they win that team fight. They don't even get the Baron. Meteos goes in, gets it, and Jensen Zonya's right afterwards. He still has flash up.
The motley crew of Sentinel and Gate will push their way down the top half of the map. Cloud9 are dead for 40 seconds, and the game will end. P1 will push us to a third game. Almost an hour of gameplay. And C9 take the bait. The Baron doesn't end the game. They beat Elder Dragon and Baron to save the game. And in the end, it's that one Baron fight that cost them. Sneaky Space does it all there, I think. He does not look happy.
That turret fight on the tier 2 top set up P1 to get the first Baron. Then they transition that, grew that lead. C9 hold on at their Nexus with no turrets left in the entire game for them. And then they start coming back. It looks like they might be able to close it out. They take too much damage, and then when they show up to Baron, Jensen gets poked out, and then he Zonya's right as he got a really good Azir ultimate. That play, I would love to watch that over again in slow motion because he would have had soldiers in position. It would have been him picking up the team fight. And I think that's something that you cannot continue to kick yourself for when you come into game 3. You can't have that on your mind.
And that's the thing, like, Cloud9 are in complete control of game 1, win handily. Complete control in a lot of the early game of game number 2. P1 play very well to kind of move themselves out and get the Baron buff. And then the end of the game's kind of messy, but I think P1 actually sort of clutched out the end despite how well Cloud9 were playing. And you have to think coming into the series at Cloud9, things are looking good. Now you have to play one more game. And we talked about, best of 3 being very different from best of 1. Guess what? You are now playing a best of 1.
Yes. But you're playing a best of 1 with the history of what just happened. You had to wipe that slate clean if you truly want it to be. But yes, the momentum seems to be in favor of P1, but Cloud9, that first macro game they played, really good. Game 2, weren't able to hold on to it, lost in team fights, but P1 took more risk.
Well, I'd love to hear about the analyst stats from that game, and that's where we're going to go. Dashno analysts are standing by to break down that P1 victory.
Thank you, guys. I love where Zyrene was going with that. That in game 1 for Cloud9, we had seen some improvement in the macro game, their rotations around the map, their ability to create and extend their advantages through the mid game. And then game 2, it seems like we regressed. We took that step back as soon as we took it forward. Very long game, very back and forth. P1 doing a fantastic job of getting themselves back into it. So let's start with the setup here in the early game. 42 CS to 1 CS.
Right.
Impact against Zig. Zig, what happened there?
So basically, P1 all-in on this TP play where they're trying to catch C9's bot lane going into the long lane when you swap to the next turret to take. They try to pick them off there. They don't get it, which so, Impact's top this whole time with a wave freezing back to him. So then Zig, after all-inning on this play, needs to run up there. And then, lo and behold, Meteos is already there waiting, and he gets a kill. And, from there, Zig can't walk up to the wave. He just had his own jungler killed, and so he's just sitting there, not farming, hating his life.
All right, but then let's talk about, because if you see this advantage created in even in your solo queue game, right? You're quick to call the game over and say that this is an insurmountable lead. I mean, we saw level 6 to level 3 at that point. Why is it that Cloud9 couldn't close out the game? What happened, Crumbs?
So a problem with Cloud9 in this game was that their macro priorities just aren't right. For example, Meteos is having way too much priority on farming and getting himself ahead as opposed to prioritizing his laners and denying the opponent. In this current meta, it's all about your wave management and how you use that to punish. So every wave crash needs to be punished, especially against an opponent that's under-leveled. When you pick a composition that has a really high damage jungler with a strong diving setup with Maokai, and you get a lead there, that's a cue for you to dive that lane over and over and over and hammer that advantage in. But instead, what we saw is a passive approach and using that advantage to farm, and that just stalled out the game against Avaris and Sivir. The wave clear is going to be so massive that they found themselves just struggling to try to close out when they had the clear window in the early game.
Yeah, just to touch on that really quickly, like the problem was in the first game we saw them moving to those sideways extremely well. They were able to get dives off and get some kills, and then the second game they swap out their supports to give Smoothie some more experience, and you see, maybe that is a problem where they need to go back to Bunny for game 3 because they did not move to the sideways, and then when they finally did, it all went wrong.
All right, well, just to piggyback on that, and we'll talk about it more after we run through some replays, Bunny Fufu is going to be subbing back in for Game 3. I do want to push us forward to our replays. 27 minutes in, this is where P1 kind of makes their real stand, saying we're coming back into this game in the top lane here. A 4-for-0 fight here for P1.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, this is the first time that C9 really moves to a wave that was built topside, and they try and get a dive off, but it's just not clean enough. The rest of P1 is here to collapse, and at this point, it's just chasing them down. And, Piran has some really nice snipes on people. He has the Deathfire burning him down.
His Varus accuracy was really on point for this game, but the star for this fight was definitely the Cocoon and the Zara ultimate, really just sealing the deal and containing Cloud9 there, and that obviously led into a Baron, which turned the game around.
Right, so, Phoenix 1 refusing to die, right? Saying, well, we're going to stick in this even with the poor start that we had. They find that fight, the fight they needed to get the Baron. But the game continued on for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen. So let's jump ahead to 50 minutes into the game where all hope seemed to be lost for Cloud9, and they make this miracle base defense here at 50 minutes left.
So the base defense starts from a mistake from Slucia here. There's really absolutely no need to be trying to go in here. All you need to do is push in the waves and you let the minions do the work. Again, similar to how Cloud9 is having difficulty recognizing the macro play, same here goes with P1. They're really struggling to see that the game's practically won at this point. There's nothing for them to do, and overcommitting leads to them just getting chased down by the Azir slow from the Rylai's, and at this point, the game looked like it was in Cloud9's hands.
I mean, minions have one job. They walk forward, and they hit structures and other minions. Just let them do their job.
They're reliable.
Just let that minion walk forward. He'll get to the turret. He'll kill it. Just let him do the work.
I don't know, man. You've got a 6-item Azir, and you've got a 6-item Caitlyn who sold her boots for 110% crit across her items.
I believe in the minions,
with the Hurricane.
James. I believe in them.
No, I am with you too. Maybe getting a little antsy there, hoping to end the game sooner than they could. C9 pull themselves back into it, and as you mentioned, Crumbs, that's where we kind of were like, all right. With that defense, the inhibs come back up. C9 might be able to kind of grab hold of this again. And yet, we have this final team fight around the Baron. Phoenix 1 and Zig, of all people, coming up big to zero out Sneaky at the very beginning of this fight and make it a lopsided one.
So what's incredibly critical about late game fighting is understanding that objectives lose their meaning. It's all about how you get the fight, because one death is enough to end the game. And Cloud9, they're really committing to this Baron, which is far from the right call. You let your backline vulnerable to the Irelia, and Azir wasn't even there to be able to dish out damage and protect with the peel. So maybe a lack of communication where Azir was, but you're honestly fine giving up a Baron. It's all about the fight. The objectives don't matter, and this fight.
I mean, we just saw them defend against a Baron and an Elder Dragon.
And triple inhibitors, but now they're trying to fight Baron for some reason, so.
Yeah, the Azir was split. They're on the Baron. You can't win the fight with that setup. You need to have your front line in front of your back line, because what happens is you have this gap, and then Zig just jumps right through it and just assassinates Sneaky. So.
All right, time for player of the game. It's going to go to Pyrian. Those snipes, left and right. We saw it in one of the replays, picking up 2 people during that. Not too long after, in the mid lane, we saw him snipe a couple more. Just a monster on that Varus. And in all honesty, C9 at times maybe even forgetting that he exists because of that long range, and he's putting in quite a bit of damage and sniping people left and right.
I loved his positioning in a lot of fights where he would just hide in a pink ward and wait patiently for one of Cloud9's members to move out of position and then snipe him out like that. And that's really fun to watch a Varus just come from the shadows and snipe people out like that, because it really plays into the style of the champion.
Got to give a special shout out to Zig, going from down 41 to CS to getting the critical kill that probably won them the game. So, a little special shout out for him.
Yeah, absolutely well deserved on his part. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a series all of a sudden. It's all tied up, so stick around to see the conclusion of this match between Phoenix 1 and Cloud9. You're watching the North American LCS.
Will C9 get the sweep? Start the week off well? Or if P1 going to force a 3rd game, we'll have to find out.
Hopefully it works out for him in this game, because the last one was just a slow bleed. Want to see proactivity from him.
I'll tell. I'm looking Kindred. Really good fight, really good fight. Hey, this is really good. Slow. Kill Maokai, no flash.
I got him.
It's on me. Nice shot. Can we Baron? Maybe. He died. Baron.
Slucci, that's forward! He gets killed, I think, by Impact as he gets locked away. Now it's open. Jensen moves one back and pops us on his P1. Gonna fight in for it, but the Lancers fight saves Meteos as now Zig just can't do anything. Cloud9 managed to hold. Gonna go down, but Jensen takes out Slucci, pushes him back, pops the Zonias. But he can't do enough damage in the backline. Jensen rips through P1, and Impact might go down. Zig and Meteos having a 1v1, but Sentinel outnumbers Impact. P1 will push us to a 3rd game. Almost an hour of gameplay.